When I was little, my family did not take vacations. I don't mean that we stayed home all the time. We went up to the bungalow that my grandparents rented in the Catskills at Rabinowitz's bungalow colony, or we went on countless day trips around Long Island, everything from Montauk Lighthouse to Takaposha Reserve, where we hunted for arrowheads, to Hither Hills State Park, or the Old Whalers Festival in Sag Harbor. But we did not take vacations. I knew about vacations from my friend Norman. Norman's family took elaborate trips a couple of times a year, and he always sent me postcards from them. Once it was a picture of Big Ben with a note on the back reading, "London is fabulous. Too bad you're stuck in boring old Island Park. Ha ha, your friend Norman, MD, PhD, GREAT." Another time, it was the Eiffel Tower. "Paris is beautiful. Too bad you're stuck in Island Park. Ha ha, your friend Norman, MD, PhD, GREAT." Worst of all, there was one with a picture of Mickey Mouse. At Disneyland, they give you tickets with different letters for the different rides. The E-tickets are for the really exciting rides. Island Park wouldn't even be an A ticket. Ha ha, your friend Norman, MD, PhD, GREAT. So you can imagine how excited I was when my parents announced that we were going to take a real vacation. They had managed to sell some stock at a good profit and had bought a brand new 1967 Dodge Dart, and there was money left over for us to take a trip to Montreal to Expo 67. I was so excited that I didn't even fight with my brother about who got the good seat in the car. See, unusually for those times, my mother always drove, and my father was in charge of navigation and discipline. And my brother Elliot and I had this theory that it was better to sit behind Dad because it was harder for him to see you if you were directly behind him. And we normally fought about this whenever we went anywhere, but I was excited and I willingly took the seat behind Mom within the dangerous view of Dad's gaze. We pulled out of the driveway and we headed north, and soon there were the most intriguing signs. Fairy Tale Village. Fairy Tale Village. Let's stop at Fairy Tale Village, Elliot and I chorused from the back seat. My father turned to my mother and said, "Keep driving, Bee. It's a tourist trap." We kept going north. Santa Claus Village. Santa Claus Village. Let's stop at Santa Claus Village. "Keep driving, Bee. It's a tourist trap." The Magic Forest. The Magic Forest. Let's go to the Magic Forest. "Keep driving, Bee. It's a tourist trap." We finally did stop at Fort Ticonderoga, where my mother lectured us about Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys, while I tried not to choke from the fumes of the nearby paper mill. We had some fun times. We stopped for the night at Lake George at a motel, where the motel owner's children and my brother and I went and hunted for salamanders and frogs in the nearby creek. And then we got up to Montreal, and we really enjoyed Expo. We got our passports stamped at every pavilion, but best of all, we bought foreign coins from a vending machine, and it was very, very exciting. Then on the way back, we drove all through New England, and once again, there were all these intriguing signs. Clark's Trading Post, Clark's Trading Post. The Flume. I didn't know what a flume was, but I knew I wanted to stop at it. And every single time, my father turned to my mother and said, "Keep driving, Bee. It's a tourist trap." But still, it had been a pretty good trip, or so I thought until I got home. Because Norman's family had also gone to Expo 67. Only they had stopped at every tourist trap that my parents had refused to stop at. And Norman had sent me a postcard from every single one of them. Still, over the following years, and I had been about 9 at the time, over the next 20 or so years, I took lots of vacations. I got to go to Big Ben and the Eiffel Tower and to Disneyland, but none of those vacations ever really seemed fully satisfying. So one day when I was 32, I decided, there's really no point in being a grown-up if you don't do the things that you weren't allowed to do when you were a kid. And I decided to plot out the perfect vacation. I did my research really carefully, and I got a plane ticket to Orlando, rented a car, and set out to see every tourist trap in the state of Florida. I started with the Florida Citrus Tower, a tall white tower in the middle of a grove of orange trees, in which you can also take a tram tree around the orange groves and eat in a restaurant with orange-flavored foods. Then I drove to Weeki Wachee Village, where local girls dressed as mermaids eat a picnic underwater. From there, it was the Museum of Sponge Diving History in Tarpon Springs and the Cypress Knee Museum further south. I watched bird shows where parrots stood on their heads, roller skated, or rode bicycles. Some people asked how they trained them to do this. I wondered why, but I still watched all of them. I had only one disappointment in the whole trip, which was that it turned out that the Tupperware Museum was closed for vacation. But still, it was a fabulous vacation. And what really made it perfect was that everywhere I stopped, I bought a postcard. And I sent it to Norman. Dear Norman, everything in Florida is fabulous. Too bad you're stuck at home in dreary and cold New York. Ha ha, your friend Miriam, MD, PhD, GREAT. Thank you.